Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you guys my Vendread Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for August 2017. Big shout out to my friend Phil for letting me borrow his Vendread stuff for the deck profile. Really cool of you for that, and once again, thanks again. Other than that, it's a really cool deck. It's the newest TCG exclusive deck for Yu-Gi-Oh, in which it involves around zombie-type monsters, sort of like American style. Zombie apocalypse sort of theme. It's really cool, and it uses ritual monsters as its main summon focus, which rituals didn't really get hit with the new Link format, so that's something we have to look forward to with this deck. So let's go ahead and jump right into the deck profile. To start off, we run 3 Vendread Slayer. This is your main ritual monster of the deck. You can ritual summon this card with any Vendread ritual spell. Once per battle, if this card battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, it is a quick effect. You can banish one zombie monster from your graveyard. This card gains 300 attack, and if this ritual summon card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 ritual spell card from your deck to your hand. And if you do, send 1 Vendread monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use this effect of Vendread Slayer once per turn. So it's pretty good cycling power. The attack boost also has that benefit for you for this deck. And it's really easy to search and make use of the cards for the ritual summon, which I think is cool what they did with this deck. Because most of the time, you'd end up minusing yourself with your ritual plays, just depending on what kind you were going for. But this deck allows you for so much cycling and use of different places for the ritual summon for the monsters that you don't really have that problem with this deck. Also, 3 Vendread Revenants. You can see that kind of the theme that's going, that Vendread Slayer is kind of like the post-apocalyptic kind of maxed up zombie, and the Revenants are the, survivors, or not survivors, the actual zombies from the apocalypse. Its effect is if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you could special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. And a Vendread monster ritual summoned using this card on the field gains the effect. You can only use the preceding effect of Revenants once per turn. Once per turn, it's a quick effect. You can target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls and banish it. So allowing for that effect really helps, since it's giving that power up to Vendread Slayer, which giving that extra boosted effect can help get rid of some pesky cards that are on the field. Also, 3 Vendread Hound Horde. This card basically has the same effect as the other one. If it's sent to the graveyard, you can discard 1 Vendread card to special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field. And the monster that's a Vendread that is ritual summoned using this card on the field gains the following effect, and you can only use each preceding effect of Hound Horde once per turn. This one lets you target spell or trap your opponent controls and banish it. So if you use them both for the ritual summon of Slayer, you are getting a monster banish effect and a spell banish effect, which is just too good for your 1 monster on the field, having all those effects stacked up. It's too cool. And then this is a zombie deck, so the generic zombie support helps really good in this, or I would say really a lot with this deck. Not really good, that doesn't really roll off the tongue as good. Zombie Master, the once per turn, send a monster card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon a zombie type monster from either player's graveyard. Just consistency there. With this card alone, you can get the field you need for the ritual requirements, especially since you want to get those Vendread monsters from the graveyard onto the field to reuse their effects. 3 Mizuki. It is pretty much standard zombie use. Banish this card from your graveyard to target 1 zombie type monster in your graveyard and special summon that target. Same with the special summon requirements. They're just too easy making use of that. 3 Unizombie. I'm a fan of the tuner base for the deck. With this card, you target 1 face-up monster on the field, discard 1 card. If you do, increase that target's level by 1. You can target 1 face-up monster on the field. Monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of the turn except for zombie monsters. Also send 1 zombie-type monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, increase the target's level by 1. You can only use the effect of Unizombie once per turn. Just really good for the zombie build-up, for the levels, going for some certain synchros that you might want, as Unizombie is a tuner, which is always good to make use of there. Also doing 3 Shiranui Solitaire. This card has great build-up. You tribute 1 zombie-type monster to special summon 1 zombie-type tuner with 0 defense from your deck, which in this case would be Unizombie. And if this card is banished, you could target 1 of your banished Shiranui monsters except for Solitaire, or up to instead 2 Shiranui Synthesis on the field, special summon them. You can only use the effect of Solitaire once per turn. More for the tribute effect to special summon the tuner is what he is used for. We do run the 1 Spirit Master as for a backup, since you cannot target Shiranui Solitaire himself with that. But other than that, that is the basic monster lineup that I like to go for with this deck. It's, like I said, basic zombie build-up, which is just the best thing to help support the Vendread deck at the moment, until, you know, we see what else we're going to get for TCG support for the deck, which I am very excited to see. And moving on to spells, we run 3 Vendread Origins. You see this is the ritual spell card for the Vendread deck. This can be used to ritual summon any Vendread ritual monster from your hand or graveyard. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field, or banish zombie-type monsters from your graveyard whose total levels equal to exceed the level of ritual monsters you ritual summon. If Vendread Slayers you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. So protection for your Vendread Slayer, because that's the one thing you want to do with that, is protect your Slayer, because he is the key of all your plays that you make with the deck. Other than that, very easy. It's searchable with cards like Preparation of Rites. I would probably bump this up to 3. You add 1 ritual spell card from your deck to your hand, and add 1 ritual monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand whose name is listed on that ritual spell card. You can only activate 1 Preparation of Rites per turn. It is listed on this card, not specifically for that monster, but it is stated as Vendread Slayer as a separate effect, which means that the pre-preparation search does go off, which I think is really cool that it makes use of that in that wording. And I'm also running the 3 zombie worlds just for field spell zombie preference. Now, one thing I would change if I had them, I just couldn't find them for the deck profile at the time, is I would add Book of Life to this deck, and also Preparation of Rites. I don't have them in here now, so if you are in the same boat as me and don't have them, I'd suggest Zombie World just as a filler, and the 1 Terraforming as well. But if you do have Book of Life and Preparation of Rites, definitely take these 4 cards out and then go for your ratio on that. If you also want a 3rd Pre-Preparation of Rites, you can add that as well, and then mix and match the rest of what you think would be the most consistent. And my guess, you know, 2 Book of Life and then 1 Prep and 1 Pre-Prep would be the best numbers in my opinion for this deck, just because Special Summon is way better than making everything zombie when you're running a full zombie deck anyway. Also, 3 Allure of Darkness. You run basically mostly dark monsters in this deck, so very consistent just for your draws in the deck. And for traps, running 3 of the new Vendread Reorigin. This card, you target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls that has a level, tribute it, and if you do, special summon 1 Vendread token, zombie, with the level equal to the tributed monster. And while the token special summoned by this effect is on the field, you cannot normal or special summon except for Vendread monsters. So I think it's kind of cool that they use it for the fact that they're turning your opponent's monsters into zombies with this card, you know, kind of like an infection kind of card, tributing that monster, and then that monster becomes the zombie token. But it's also good for getting rid of those pesky monsters your opponent controls, meanwhile providing resources, in a sense, for you with this card. Really good. And to finish up the traps, we're going pretty generic with the 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, 1 Torrential Tribute, and 1 Solemn Warning to finish up the main deck lineup. And now on to the extra deck. We run 1 number 24, Dragulus, the Vampiric Dragon. All it requires is 2 level 6, and it has a pretty good protection effect as well, which in this case, Vendread Slayer, best card for making this. After you use all of his effects, you can go into him, since, you know, very easy, since the ritual monsters don't take up any extra deck zones, and the biggest thing is your ritual summoning with this deck, so multiple extra deck summons isn't the key factor here. Also, 1 Gaga Cowboy, 1 Daigusto Morale, 1 number 101 Silent Arc, 1 Castel, 1 Dark Rebellion, and 1 Abyss Dweller. I stick with the rank 4 monsters, just because with the Mizukis and the Zombie Masters and your Vendread monsters being level 4, that's the main key I go for. I also run the 1 Leviair to grab back some of your banished support, since you do have plenty of the level 3s as well, with Unizombie and Hound Horde being a thing. And then also for the Synchro Monsters, 1 Omega, 1 Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, 1 Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, and 1 Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. If I had some of the like Archfiend Zombie Skulls or stuff like that, I'd probably swap them in, you know, the level 7 and 8 ones, just for consistency. They work the best with the Unizombie plays, and pretty standard now with the decks also running 2 Decode Talkers, just so you can make use of, you know, dead monsters on the field that, you know, aren't doing much else. Grab your Decode Talker and then have more extra deck space filled up. Same with the Firewall Dragon for that good bounce effect for the point card. You always can rely on that as well. But yeah, that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Once again, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And as always, Kira Twig out.